Real and Raw, and I am Lynn Serrano, and I don't know who's over there. Hello, McFly. Hello, Knock Knock. Are you there?
Hello. I'm glad you knocked. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known you were here.
Okay, Mr. Red Face.
That damn lighting again. I mean, you think like after I've learned like the Kelvin scale and something like that, I could freaking get lighting that doesn't make me look like a rock lobster or something.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have stayed out in the sun as long as you did. Maybe
stop it. I'll just leave me alone.
Oh, did you actually try to wear any sunscreen protection or no?
No, I didn't have any.
Oh, and it shows. No, just kidding.
Hey, at least I don't look like my I don't know. I don't look like a saltine cracker. So
oh my gosh.
The lighting really brings out the natural color of my skin.
Oh, and it's so sexy.
It's so pretty. Oh, that almost looks like it's not even my hand. Wow. Okay, already almost 2 minutes into the show. All right, welcome everybody. Happy Friday. It's another one-off show here because of the Memorial Day weekend, and we're happy to have you here, all of our loyal viewers and anybody catching the replay. Lynn and I, man, we just we have a topic and we banter for about an hour, and we do it all for your entertainment value and hopefully get something out of it.
I'm trying to just right here, and it's not. There we go.
Are you having technical difficulties?
Just maybe a little bit, but you know.
Difficulties.
Yeah, but there we go.
Wow.
And I had a hard time. I have this little coat thing on my keypad, and it wasn't exactly right, so it wasn't typing right. So, anyways, there's sure. Scott. Your car.
I've heard that excuse before.
What's the redness on the back of Brian's neck?
Yeah.
And then there's my sweet sister-in-law, Jules. I love you.
Jules.
Actually, I had Tammy in my car, and she actually got to listen to my brother Mark's CD, and it made me think. CD is like, it's all like skips and does but I don't give a shit. That would normally annoy me, but because this is my brother singing, I endure. It's like, wow, just a new, I'm gonna play that till it don't play no more, kind of thing. So yeah, and then there's my Steve, Scuba Steve.
There's Steve.
Hi, Steve. So welcome everybody being here. We just love having you guys.
Well, we need to give a shout out to Sandy. She's been, I don't know the circumstances, it's none of my business, but she's been going through some life transitions. And last night she was vulnerable and she shared with everybody. So just a shout out to her for shooting a little video per a request from somebody to get it out there. And hopefully it made a difference in how she looks at what her next journey looks like.
And I love that. And here in a few minutes, I'm going to download some pictures. I got to meet Larry in the flesh and Sandy in the flesh, and it was such a great time with everybody. It was awesome. And we had
so they are real people.
Yes, I can confirm. I don't have to deny. They are truly real people. Okay. So that is super awesome that they were there, and we will get together tomorrow from 1 to 4. I signed some books, gave some books away, and
I would stop eating like at noon. Like right now, I'd stop eating so that all the barbecued foods you'll have tomorrow taste that much better.
You know what? That's exactly what I plan to do.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's exactly right.
A rack of ribs for a sign book.
Well, I was so glad we met at Starbucks because I was thinking when we said originally 1 to 4 at the barbecue place, I'm like, those books are going to be nasty. They won't even be able to read them because it'll be all sticky.
Here's your book.
Yeah.
You got some wet naps?
So I was like, oh yeah, I'm taking this opportunity. Sign your books, give me your books, and they will not be at the barbecue table tomorrow.
Note to self, when you go out shopping today or maybe tomorrow, get some Ziploc bags.
I've got Ziploc bags.
Yeah, put their book in Ziploc bags and give it back to them.
Yeah, would have been a good idea.
This is for authenticity purposes. It still has a new smell.
Yeah, and not the barbecue smell.
Barbecue smell or macaroni and cheese all over it.
I really thought, how bad would it look like if they had barbecue sauce on those pages? If somebody go by like, oh, this is a real shitty book.
They after they get done reading it or something, they
pass it on to somebody else.
Oh yeah. Oh, you were at Barbecue Sam's down the street, weren't you? I remember that barbecue sauce. Yeah.
It smells kind of barbecue.
Oh, that's the mesquite. Oh yeah, that's down the street at Earl's place.
Yeah. Pretty much. I was like, because I could just play all these different scenarios about, oh man, Barbie, we're gonna sign books and hang them there. We're gonna be like, can somebody pass the napkins? I was thinking this is gonna be really bad.
You know what you should do as a joke? You got your stack of books, you got your pens or your markers, you got some Ziploc bags, and then you've got a little box of wet wipes.
Yeah.
I'm here to serve you.
Yeah.
Are you from the restaurant? Oh no, I just want to take.
You know what though? You just reminded me. I think I will bring 1 or 2 books in there, and I'll probably just sign my name on them, and I'll randomly give somebody a book just to see how they act, and I'll have somebody record that just to see how they act.
Sure. No, even better, have it recorded like Tammy recorded, and you start saying hi to somebody. Hey, would you like a free book?
Yeah.
And then you get their name and you put their name in there, and it's already signed.
Yeah, that would be cool. I forgot to take pictures with Larry and Sandy with the book, so I'll have to bring one anyways to get pictures of them holding the book.
Well, it's a great way to bribe everybody,
right?
Hey, look, they love my book. They love my book. What can I say?
And then before the food comes, I'll snap their hands and nope, give me those books back.
Well, no, you're just like, okay, now, you're paying for my meal, and and the cost of the book. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just make sure you get the video testimonial before the food comes.
Yeah, right.
Because that video testimonial might be perceived differently if they've got like sauce all over their face.
Yeah. Next thing you know, I'll have to be kissing the book with barbecue sauce. You got lipstick. Barbecue sauce.
Here's my book.
That might be worth something.
And then they start looking at your grimy fingers, and it looks like a bunch of Cheetos or something.
Yeah.
God.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, our society is so visual these days, so it's like it's not necessarily the purpose of the image or what they're looking for. They're looking at all sorts of stuff in and around it, like, oh, that person didn't iron their clothes today. What?
Oh my gosh.
I'm wearing shorts. Who cares?
I'm
going
would
to a book signing, not a wedding in an upscale place.
I could be audacious and take my hand, put in barbecue sauce, and put a handprint in the first.
Great. Lynn's signature is barbecue sauce on the front cover or on the inside flap. That'd be a new way to sign a book. You just smother your freaking hand in barbecue sauce. And
well, back in the day, they used to do, if you didn't know how to sign your name, they would put an X, So
Lynn,
in Kansas City, you just use barbecue sauce to sign.
Even if it's in Kansas City, they've still cultured themselves since they did that back then.
I'm sure I could do
some better ways. Just like back in the day when some people didn't wear football helmets hockey helmets because they weren't invented yet. So they kept repeatedly getting blows to the freaking head. And then they realized, oh, we might want to protect our melon. So they invented a hockey helmet. But hey, this is a test run for your book. So it's like, hey, maybe barbecue won't work on the East Coast because they don't do barbecue there. I mean, and I'm not talking about North Carolina. I'm talking like Jersey or something. Like they don't. Yeah. I don't know if they do barbecue or no. They're more known for fresh fish and stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, we do have in Syracuse. There is Dinosaur Barbecue, which is pretty famous for their barbecue sauce. Yeah, Dinosaur. Yeah, Dinosaur Barbecue.
But you're going to get a different reaction of people in Kansas City if you put like barbecue sauce in your hand to like signature your book.
Yeah.
You do that in Jersey, they might, shank you or something.
Yeah, you never know.
Wow. So I'm glad that we established the book signing and all the things that might happen. So just a visual for everybody. If you're going to, what you're going to see tomorrow when Lynn is signing her book, she's going to have her stack of books,
No.
a couple markers, a box of wet naps, and Ziploc bags. So after she signs them, then she can put them in a bag so people consuming barbecue won't get it all over their hands.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Things you got to do, right?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, actually,
I take Ziploc bags everywhere I go.
Yeah. Well, shoot, my mom did. Now I feel like I'm turning into my mom.
I'm feeling a little behind the times. I got to go get a box of wet naps.
I'm surprised you probably have those little cute little Kleenex portable things, especially in the wedding department, to say, "Oh, you need some Kleenex."
No, I just wipe it on my shirt.
I'm talking about for the guests.
Well, they wipe it on my shirt.
You probably should, and you should have Brian Kelm cares here. Here's just some Kleenex.
That doesn't sound really good. No, that would dip my branding down to less than where I want it to be.
Well, you wanted those weddings to be so sentimental that it brings tears of joy to people's eyes. So there's the Kleenex.
Oh, good Lord. No. If anything, it could be the customer's name on it. Hey, have a Kleenex moment on us, John and Sue.
There you go. Oh, sorry. Well, you know what? Weddings can be like a funeral anyways, but that's for another show.
But okay. If they are crying, I don't want to be the result of like, oh, hey, here's a branded Kleenex.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it cracks me up. But yeah, I mean, some people feel like their wedding day is like their funeral. So, well, I mean, let's be honest.
I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, no, you're not, but I did. All right. I'm going to need a tissue myself. I'm just laughing.
See?
Gosh.
Everybody needs one.
Brian Kleenex instead of Brian Kelm.
Kelm, not Kelm. I automatically know when I get mail that has it's spelled brain or clem. And then it's like CLEM. I immediately know, oh, yeah, that's valid mail.
Yeah.
You can freaking spell my name right. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Get a clue. Yep.
Well, I even have family members that spell, like when they mail me something, it's Brian and it's BRAIN. And I'm like, wow.
You don't even know how to spell my name.
Either that or BRYAN. I've had that a couple times. And I'm like, do you even freaking know?
Yeah. And that's the uncommon way. So it is weird when they do that.
Right. But hey, they might have been making barbecue sauce too when they're writing out those cards.
Thank you, Scott. It's Saturdays and we're goofy and we never know what's going to happen.
It's Friday, Lynn.
It's Friday. So that's what we're doing.
Hey, Scott, I'm glad that we can work on our improv skills for you to laugh. So we're glad to get your belly rumbling a little bit.
Don't speak about bellies rumbling.
Oh yeah. Well,
yeah. Okay.
I remember years ago, and then we'll get to our topic because I figure, hey, it's 15 minutes in. We should probably talk about something. I remember many, many years ago when there was a gentleman that came up to me, and I was there until the end of the night, and he goes, "Hey, do you think that the entertainment will play some belly rubbing music?" And I'm like, "Sir, I don't know. We can go ask them." And I'm like, "Can you please describe belly rubbing music? You know that stuff you get close with your lady, you're rubbing bellies." I'm like, "Oh, a slow song." And he goes, "Yeah, that's it." And I'm like, "Okay, let me go check and see." But what he's referring to is a slow song, and here he brought it up as belly rubbing music.
I know that sounds like, to me, when you said belly rubbing, all I kept thinking is two sumo wrestlers.
All I thought was this Barry White with vanilla scented candles. Hey, baby. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But I seriously saw two sumos belly rubbing.
Well, I'll give you one more to change the visual. I had this one gentleman ask me when I was planning his wedding. He goes, "Can we have one of those fish scale balls at my wedding?" And I'm like, "Could you explain it?" He goes, "Yeah, when it spins, it looks like fish scales." I'm like, "Oh, a mirror ball."
Yeah.
you'd like to have one of those at your wedding. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, I'll see what I can do.
Oh, that's so funny.
So yeah, a fish scale ball.
So yeah, it's a matter of perspective. It's a matter how you see it.
Well, I just want to see what's behind his lenses to call it a fish scale ball. Like, hey man, it looks like fish scale.
He must be a fisherman.
Or he saw fish. No pun intended, by the way. Because there is a band named Fish. Okay, well, we've got some leftover. We got some leftover Friday night or Friday type of improv words or phrases that we wanted to kind of cycle through. There's one that's going to maintain and it's sustainable. It's wet wood, but we're not going to talk about that one today because we talk about it every week. But we have some leftover ones, so it's like today's a one-off show, so why not, kind of start from square one on Monday, right, with a fresh topic and all that for you. So Lynn and I are just gonna banter back and forth, and I don't know, I got like 10 or 12 of them here, so we'll see how far we can get. And again, we're not looking for long expressions or Nobel Peace Prize, dissertation speeches.
Actually, Brian, I am driving. Well, I should be okay for Monday. Yeah, I should be.
Whatever.
If not for sure Tuesday.
So obviously it's the summer, everybody. So, and Lynn is traveling right now. So it's like, just keep, we want to see you as much as you want to see us, and make sure you get some value from our commentary. So, just keep track of the pages, and we'll let you know when we're going to be back on, because we value your time. So
absolutely.
We don't want to screw up your normal routine if you want to tune in. But, it is the summer, so it's going to be a little bit different than if it's cold and nobody goes anywhere.
Yeah, it'll be all right once I get to Florida, and I'll be there for a little bit.
Oh, she'll be with Mr. Liplock.
Yeah, I got to schedule that once I get to my dad's. Yeah, I got to see what the chores are and what's going on with dad's, and then say, Dad, I got to leave for a day or so.
I got to go to Liplock's house.
What are you talking about? I'm like, no, I'm not explaining that to my dad.
Oh, of course not.
Thank God he doesn't watch Facebook.
That's good. Otherwise, he'd be like, no.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't matter. He's 80 and I'm 55. I'd still have to listen to my daddy.
It reminds me of in Everybody Loves Raymond, when Robert got that girlfriend, that Italian girlfriend, and her dad was like just the most stern, like Italian guy, right? And it's like, Mr. Figueroa or whatever his name was. No matter what Robert did to try to please him or whatever, he always, he was always so stern and never agreed to anything. So, okay. So let's see here. The first question, this one is a question. What is your definition of simplicity? What is your definition of simplicity?
Definition of simplicity is basically as least amount of steps needed to take for a task without allowing any negative talk or self-talk or self-sabotaging thoughts, but just being simple and getting the task done, focusing on the end result and reverse engineering. Simplicity to me is to realize we don't need to make it as complex as we have in the past.
Right.
And also what I'm doing on this trip, because I feel like I brought a lot, but I didn't. There's a lot of purposes for things. You have to you just sometimes have to evaluate where you're at and what you're doing, and then ask yourself, why are you doing that? And what's the purpose? Yeah. And that really helps you simplify, not whatever I was just going to say, simplify.
Oh, we could have fun with those words.
No. But to simplify what it is, and to, peel the onion and realize it doesn't have to be as difficult. It can be as simple as you can make it.
Right.
And so that's simplicity.
So simplicity for me, and I'm a firm believer, just as a side note, is that simplicity is something I think you have to go through complexity to reach. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like unpacking everything in your life, unpacking everything in your garage, purging things. I think it can be attached to everything, but I think you have to go through complexity in order to get to simplicity, right? Because you find out how simple it can be, but until you know what it actually is and you carve out what that is, I don't think you know what simplicity is, in my opinion. Okay. So simplicity is purpose, intention, and outcome.
Absolutely.
Why are you doing this? What's the reason for it? Right. And that simplicity is such an interesting thing. And I know that we talked about it, but it's such an interesting thing because every time you look at something, you can look at it a different way. But at the same time, what lessons are you carrying with you that you can use to enhance whatever that definition was, right? And it's all that noise that led you away from how simple it could be. I also think simplicity is something you have to do alone, right? It's something that you have to define for yourself, free of people, free of congestion, free of noise, free of distractions. So purpose, intention, and outcome. What do you want this project to be like, right? What is the end goal? And by getting rid of all the noise, I think it makes it a lot easier because then you're not looking for acknowledgement. Nobody has to agree with you because it's not up to them in the first place. So that's simplicity for me.
Yes.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, sorting out the noise and realizing that, okay, if I want to accomplish this, you have to think, okay, and when the other thoughts come that are in alignment there, you have to sort, that's an excuse, let it go. This, and find the useful things out of things. And it really does help you as a whole. It's just like, you can have a clutter at your house, but then every time you're like, where's my keys? I'm spending 5 minutes before I leave to find my keys. Well, why not make a habit, put it in a certain place, and then realize it'd be simple. Next time you need to leave, you can leave because you know where those keys are. I mean, it just the same thing with anything in life. You have to say, no, this is the mission. And if it didn't work 100 times for you because 100 times you're looking for those freaking keys, maybe something needs to change. But I want to challenge everybody with the perspective. When you said every time you look at something, look at it and don't look at it. When you think of something, and I had to do this when my brother passed away, and I'd put my, I do online banking, and I put my password in. As I was doing that with the banker, that's when I found out my brother passed away. So every time I put my password in there, I would be triggered to it. So I had to go and program myself to think of something different, a different perspective to doing that action. So nothing changes until you say, I can't keep thinking of the same story. I can't keep playing the old tune. You have to find a different way to play that tune that's going to adjust you to have a different perspective on it. So I just encourage you not to keep playing the old record player, the old song. Play something with a new pair of ears, a new, way of looking or hearing those things so that you can make that transition, or else nothing.
I think it also depends on exactly what it is. Cause like we were talking, it's like for me, I'm a big idea person. And so like, I'll always have a notebook in my pocket, but I've been notorious over the years and I don't do it anymore, but it's like, to me, Post-it notes are the death of my creativity because I end up having to write it out. But then it's like, if I forget it, lose them, they don't all end up in one place where I can go to access them. Then I get upset at myself. So it might not be in the moment. It might seem like it's simple, but in the long term, it's not, because if I want to use that content and I can't find it, then I'm wasting time, right? And I'm getting all up in arms about something that shouldn't be that complex. You take the note, you put it in some place, you have backups of it, and then whenever you need it, you might have to look through one document or whatever, but you don't have to look through 50 things.
Right.
This notebook, that notebook, this phone, this iPhone, or this tablet, whatever it is, you have one place of where to go.
That's what I do. Yeah, that's what I do with my notepad thing now too. I'll voice it or whatever. I'll write it in there and then go hunt for it later.
And obviously one person's simplicity is going to be another person's complexity.
Right? Absolutely.
Because I mean, how people are wired, one software program may resonate with them better than another. And does it make any one of them wrong? No. Like, a simple example. A simple example is that I know several people that love droids. They just love the droid platform. It works for them. Cool. No problem. Other people have iPhones. Okay. But then if you cross-reference those people that give them those devices, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Does it make them wrong? Absolutely not. It's just they're wired differently to, it's so simple. You do this, you do this. But for another person, they look at it as confusion or whatever.
Yeah, just like the Evernotes. I mean, Tracy's on iPhone, but she likes the Evernotes, and I just like the notepad, the notepad thing. So like you said, it's a matter of finding your taste, but do something a little bit different to make things easier for you in the long run is really what you should be searching out regardless.
Well, and it's also like, one person could look at an old school notebook and be like, oh man, that's told 10 years ago. But to another person, they're just like, you know what? This is where everything is. Like, it has so much more value to them because any thought that they have, they're not scatterbrained to find it, right? So to one person, it might be a notebook is passe. To another person, it's like, man, I put everything I have in here. It's like my journal for ideas and books I want to write and things I want to read, whatever it is. So it could be a roadmap, But for me and how my mind works and how ideas are always there, I want to have a place to go to access them, and I don't want to be looking all over everywhere for that, right?
Yeah.
So, and here's the thing: any idea or any project is only as good as it getting done.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an idea. Well, I had an idea. Great. How's that idea working? Oh, I haven't done anything with it. Well, then it's as if you didn't even invent it anyway, because it's just sitting there, So moving on. So the next one is we don't know what we don't know is the expression. We don't know what we don't know is the expression.
I'll let you go first on that one.
I actually love this because of some other training I've done over the years and continue to do is that I think the best way to connect this, because it might be what's the word I'm looking for? It might be conceptual to a lot of people, but it's all about brain science. It's how people think. And we don't know what we don't know. That is something all of us have in common as human beings. We can't conceive it. Therefore, we don't know it. Like we have three different hemispheres, or we have three different ways of thinking, right? We know what we know, and then we don't know what we know, right?
Yeah.
And then we
didn't know.
What's that?
And we didn't know we didn't know.
Correct. And the one that the world that most people live in is that they know what they know or that they don't know what they know, versus the real magic and the real juice that people that live a transformative life can get or give to themselves is that they explore the world that they don't know what they don't know, right? It's not even in their mindset. It's not in their subconscious. It hasn't even been invented yet until they create it. So It's a very powerful place to be. It's also not something for everybody. It's too conceptual. It might be a little bit too out there. But I love this because that's where creativity happens. But the types of people that play in that realm are ones that are not going to be denied. They're not afraid of being criticized. They're not afraid of being condemned, because they're trusting themselves and their intuition that whatever they conceive in whatever way is important, right? And nobody's going to take that away from them. So that's what I got from this.
Yeah, what you don't know is what you don't know is, I think that's something that we should learn when we were in school, that there's so much to know about so many things, and yet we don't always know the whole story. We always don't know the perception, or we don't know how we write or how people perceive what we're trying to articulate, because you could be audio, you could be visual. And so if you're painting out pictures, and you got to be careful when Jerry's on your show, because then he just goes to the naughty side, those kinds of things. So, hi, Helen, thanks for being here. So knowing what I don't know is always great, because it reminds me to be open-minded and realize that I may only know this much about that topic. And, you could be studying a doctorate in something and you still don't know everything. You could just be a bookworm, and yet if you're going to be a couples therapist and you've never been in a relationship, or if you're going to be, never been married, or all these different things, what you don't know is you don't know. Even I've had my pediatricians that would be like Grim Reaper, because my kids had health issues when they were first born. They come in being so, hi, Colleen, they come in being Grim Reaper and all this, but then a few years later, you go see them with your other child. And what's cool is they had a child, And then all of a sudden they become, their bedside manner is more compassionate and understanding and sharing pictures of their kids. Like I said, so you don't know everything, even if it's textbook, and then comes real life, on the job training, to a personal situation, till it's personal to you, textbook and blah, blah, and on the job. You just don't know what you don't know. And it'll always be that. You'll never know everything, even though most people think that they do.
There's one quote I live and die by. You know, there's several, but the one that I harmonize with a lot is one that Steve Jobs, and God bless him, rest in peace. But people don't know what they want until you show it to them, which comes completely. I mean, it is about business and, you know, products and services. I mean, that's what he did, but it's all, people don't know what they want until you show it to them. Well, they don't know that they don't know that they want this, right? Because it's never been invented before. You know, they were never able to make an emotional connection to something that they didn't even know existed, right?
Yeah. And that's so good to say about gadgets, that you see infomercials.
And then the last piece is that it is hard for me to believe, well, I parallel, you don't know what you don't know with your point of view, right? Is that if we don't know where somebody's coming from, we don't know their background, we just met them, is the worst thing that we can do is not give them the grace of their own point of view. That's the worst thing that we can do, because we're already labeling them instead of having some kind of dialogue and letting that govern where it goes, instead of having all this built up stuff, right? So it's a beginner's mind, you know, you don't know what you don't know about that person. Cool. Well, then how do you get to know them? Well, that comes from interacting, engaging, you know, the way it should be, instead of, oh, I can't talk to that person because they look a certain way, or they're of a certain ethnicity or color or whatever, which that shouldn't even come into it, right? It shouldn't even come into it. So point of view, everyone has one. Respect them for that. Now, you don't have to agree with it, but everybody has a point of view. And in my opinion, it's a coveted place to be in, is that if you understand somebody's point of view, it's a great place to at least be neutral with, right? You respect it. It's their own. We all have them. But the difference is that you either respect it or you don't, because if they're showing you respect and you don't show it back, then that's where it gets, that's where struggle happens.
Perception and empathizing, and, you know, realizing that other people's perspectives matter to them. So it should matter to you, so that you get to know them. You should be thankful that you've got that knowledge to say, okay, maybe I can understand you better. Well, but you just being a hard ass, you know, and being a jerk about it doesn't help anybody or anything.
Well, and here's the thing, by them sharing their point of view, they're not trying to win you to their side or their viewpoint. That's the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand, is that they're just sharing with you. They're not asking you to, if you agree with it or whatever. If they do, that's a different conversation. But if they're just sharing openly their point of view, they should be able to do that. But they're not trying to be like, beat it down, you know, like beat you down and be like, you need to believe this or think this. No. But our brain gets caught up in all of this nonsense, where it's like, you know, the difference between what happened and what did I make it mean? Okay. When you retrace what somebody said, are they trying to like force it down your throat, or are they just sharing their point of view? And are you giving them the opportunity to just share? Or are you trying to trump it because you're judging them, right? That I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Wait a minute. This is a judge-free zone here.
Yeah.
This is just what's important to them.
You know,
what were the comments that popped up there?
Oh, just here, it's important.
It's important to respect, offer the compassion as well as empathetic, but remain in the middle. Yeah, I mean, Helen, it's because here's the thing, is that if somebody is not coming at you from, you know, like beating it down your throat, like you need to believe this, you know, if they're not coming at it, it's this thing up here known as our brain just making meaning out of it, right? And obviously, if we get our emotions in it, if it's a sensitive subject, that might be a little bit more tough to deal with. But somebody's point of view is, man, it doesn't get any better than that, because you're able to have the free reign to be who you're going to be and just share from your point of view through your lenses.
Right.
You know?
And you brought up great You brought up something that I have to remind when I travel, because I've made for several years now. I've made this trip to New York in the summertime. It's just something I do and whatnot. But it's just like I try to ignore my health issues as best as I can, and so I always find conflict within myself because I'll say, "Let's make plans," and then all of a sudden I'm sick or something happens, and so I don't like to make plans because I don't know how I'm going to feel. And yet I don't let my health rule me from going as far as I can.
Right.
So with all that said, it's like sometimes I give that, like I said today, I said, Brian, I don't know how I'm going to feel through the show. And then I just let it go. But again, it's the not using that as an excuse, but realizing sometimes you can't control the outcome for whatever reason, and giving yourself that grace not to be mad at yourself for that, because I would get really upset that would interfere with what I'm doing. But again, you don't know what you don't know, and realize I'm human. I'm still getting out of my comfort zone to do things, but I got to realize I don't know how I'm going to feel. So knowing that I don't know, is a good thing for me to keep in perspective for myself, because sometimes we're just not kind to ourselves. And so like this time I'm going through a situation and I have never felt this way, and I can't feel the certain things I normally do. And I'm usually know how to handle things, and I don't know right now. And I'm very vulnerable about it. And yet I'm like, just relax. Don't let it get to you. So just this whole don't know what you don't know is attributed to everything in the world, everything that you think about.
Well, and it's like, we got to move on because we got several more things to talk about. But take a little examination of everybody watching. Just, kind of look at, areas of your life that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And how many times are you playing as if you do,
Mm-hmm.
where you know very little about a subject, but you've got an opinion about it. Right. Instead of just sitting back and, see if it's even worth your time, or if there's something there that really, that fuels you in some way. Right. But
Yeah.
it's like one of the best places to be in is in a state of, I don't know what I don't know, because that's when you're the most vulnerable, but that's when you learn the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're just a sponge. And it's like, if it's improv, you're hopping up on stage, every interaction, you're raising your hand, you're asking questions, is because you don't know what you don't know. And how else do you get to know something? By learning it.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually it goes from you don't know what you don't know, and then it comes into your subconscious, and then it comes into your conscience.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
It's taking action. And after being catatonic a couple times in my life, where I literally couldn't talk because my I just shut down, and I realized sometimes people come at me and I don't know what to say, and I have that delay thing. So doing the improv and doing the whole being on point really helps with those things. And like you said, it keeps you keep an open mind and see what you can learn today. So
Well, and here's the thing, is that there's been neurologists, let me spit it out, have said that at the very most, or people that study the brain have said that at the very most, we use 10% of our brain. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that 90%, now let's trace back in history of all the people that created all the stuff that we know today, right? All the inventions, all whatever, they might have used more of their brain, but just look at, just for an inspirational moment, 90% of your brain is not being used on average. You don't know what you don't know. That's the 90%. Imagine what you could do, and there's no way of measuring that, maybe with probes or something, but to know when we're using more of our brain. But just looking at it in terms of discovery and the way our life can transform to be something different. Imagine what that could be if we go up in not only how much brain we're using, but also that we don't know what we don't know. Because there's some fuel that we get by, like, oh my God, I just came up with this new idea or whatever. We get joy. We get a dopamine hit from that. So just an interesting place to be in. The 90% of the brain that we don't use, we don't know what we don't know. Well,
but isn't it awesome to know that we don't know what we don't know?
Correct. Well, but also though, that comes from the world that there is no right and wrong.
That's right.
Where it's just like, it is what it is, because you don't have no conception of it yet.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you're kind of curious.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'd rather stumble across something by thinking of it and just living my life versus like, no, well, you're still, your brain is still going to do what it's going to do. You know, like if I tell anybody that's watching this, stop your brain for a second. It's not going to happen.
No.
You know, but the more that you go through life, the more, if you're open to it, you don't know what you don't know. Instead of fighting it, embracing it, it might offer some real discovery. So, okay, we got to keep moving. The next one is get out of your own way. Get out of your own way, and these got to be short because we got to close in the gap here. So, what say you, Lynn, for
get out of the way? It doesn't work. Okay, that's what I found. Get out of the way basically means that when you come to a thought of an action that you need to take, stay with that thought and go with it and go with the flow right away. The get out of the way is what comes next. And that's all the excuses or the reasons why you can't do what you need to do. Correct. So getting out of the way is letting go of those thoughts and stick with the whisper tells you, and you can't go wrong because that's obviously what you should be doing. Yep. So that's
get out of your own way to me is that there's more, and sometimes what we don't know isn't true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, you know, unless we have a context or whatever, Sandy, I wouldn't know what that is, right? And sometimes what we do know, sorry, yeah. I read that wrong. Yeah. What we do know isn't true.
Yeah. From our belief system. Yeah. Limiting beliefs. Yep.
Well, it's been handed down. It's been second nature. It's something that might have been imposed upon us, but we never actually chose it.
Right.
One way or another. So when I think of get out of your own way is, that's where you come to the source of why you're doing it. You know, what is the reason for me doing this? To complete it. Okay. Well, that's not personal. You know, you're making it personal. That's what's causing the disruption. Why you're running into struggles is because now you're getting yourself into a place of making it about you instead of making it about completing the task. And plus, you're putting such an emphasis on yourself and not on what you're there to do. Mm-hmm. Because the project being completed to anybody on the street has nothing to do with you. It's about whatever work that you need to complete. And that's it. So I think getting out of your own way is removing yourself from the process, right? What's the whole intention? No emotion. Here's what I need to get done. Great. Did you get it done? No. Well, then get it done. The more emotion we put on ourselves, the more we make it about us, the less anything's going to go anywhere. Okay. Enrolling others in your possibilities.
Enroll. So you get your thoughts, you get whatever you want to accomplish done. And it usually anything you want to get accomplished, you cannot do it by yourself. It takes action by you, but it takes action with delegation. It takes a village to grow a child or, raise a child. Same thing goes with a thought or conception or an idea. It just doesn't grow with you. It takes actions and it takes roots because, again, you don't know everything, but somebody else that you know knows the things you need to accomplish that. So getting other people to be involved and seeing your mission and your passion is where you want to start, because once they can see the vision of what you're trying to do, then you're creating that massive compound effect to get what you want to become to fruition by getting other people involved. And so I'll let you take it from there.
Sure. Enrolling others is simply about, I don't believe that there's such thing as a self-made person.
That's right.
I know that term has been deemed in history by inventors and people of wealth and, of abundance and all that, because who bought their products? Who gave them the money, right? Like who bought their stuff? They might have had the idea, but did they have a bunch of, I know that Henry Ford, he might have came up with the idea for an automotive, but he didn't build the cars himself.
Yeah.
So enrolling others, anything that is ever done that is going to make a difference in the world is done with other people.
Absolutely.
Civic groups, organizations, projects, whatever, is that enrolling others. There's a united effort there. There's some common bond. They're kindred spirits, all for the same cause.
And that's why people forget we are one.
Correct. So enrolling others is like, If here's another thing to consider. If you're stumbling, we talked about this in a previous show. Once you conceive an idea or once you conceive something that you want to do, you have to declare it and you have to enroll people in it. When you declare it, that's when you say it out loud. You make it known that this is what you're going to do. You're not going to be left out of being accountable to it, but enrolling other people in it. Could that be support? Could that be, hey, do you want to take this checklist? Hey, what are you going to do for this project? Right? But it might be your idea, but your idea alone is not going to complete it. So that's why it takes others. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I'm not going to enroll somebody to, it's hard for me to believe that a lady and a guy are not going to enroll each other, but then they're going to have a child. I mean, there could be other examples, but
the other example would be you'd have to revert to in vitro or something.
Or how about this? How are you without enrollment? How are you going to have one person kiss another? Whatever, So enrollment, it's essential to get anything done in the world. Okay, so live life on your terms. That's the next one. And Sandy says, so true, but many people in the 90%ers don't reach out. Well, it's up to us, right? If it's our project, if it's our thing, that's the beautiful part about this, Sandy, is because that's how you're doing it in a humble way. But I would never rest on somebody that doesn't want to do it. Well, if they said yes and they want to be a part of it, well, then they will, right? But I'm not going to rest on the 90% that don't reach out, right?
Well, I think so many people in the 90% don't reach out. I don't know. Yeah, I could take that two different ways, but
right. Yeah, I took it a certain way.
Yeah, but the other way I look at it is this is where people mess up. People start alienate people in their lives for whatever reason. And all of a sudden you got a project to do and you realize you annihilated all these people. It's just like, the hen, she did the cooking and everything for herself, but she bitched everybody out. But then, the farmer could get her some more corn feed or whatever, and she annihilated that person. Well, it's on you. That's what I love about the cycle of life. No matter what you think, not only will you not leave here out alive, but also you forget we don't do anything in life without other people. We may die alone, but here we live as one. Yep. And that's why you love, forgive, and let go and move on.
So we got to move quick. Love and appreciation. Y'all have to run. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here, Colleen.
Thanks for being here.
I'm going to say one more thing about Sandy, but then we got to cruise like 30 seconds, a minute each, so we can get through all of these. My one more thing to Sandy about this topic is that are these people being asked if they even want to be involved?
Right.
Right. Instead of being like, well, I know some people. I'm just going to state an obvious thing here, but did they say yes to this, or are you assuming because you know them in whatever relatedness that they're going to say yes? You know what I mean? Just because I know people doesn't mean that those people are going to say yes. And it has nothing to do with your relationship with them. They just may not be interested. Mm-hmm. I can see a lot of that showing up where it's assumed that, oh yeah, they like dogs, so they would like to do that project. Well, you're telling yourself that they're going to say yes instead of actually knowing if they're going to say yes.
Yeah, that's a problem with assumptions.
Correct.
And assuming, yeah.
So live life on your terms is the next one, and we got to move quick. Live life on your terms is that you're not afraid of being the outcast. You've created a life for yourself, and you call the shots. You're comfortable in your own skin, and you do you. You live your truth, and you do it unconditionally. And eventually your tribe and your people will show up. That's what I got. How about you?
Live on your own terms is basically knowing who you are first, understand your synchronicities and your quirkiness and things like that. Give the disclaimer to everyone around you if need be, whether you have a health issue and it might, whatever, but make sure that you are being true to yourself and to other people, because you may be going through something, but they may not know what you're going through. Correct. So you need to be vulnerable. You need to be accountable but don't use it as an excuse or a crutch either. So
Okay.
that's
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The next one is love more. Love more.
Yes, when the difficult times, you got to realize you got to love more. You got love. Love will think of the person, think of the situations that were good, caring, and loving, and love that, and let go of the things that are not that are hindering that relationship, because you don't want to the shortcomings to be the dead issue on a relationship. So that's when you have to love more and get over that, and also remember that if you want to be loved, you got to love others, and let them be, because you want that right to be forgiven and loved at your darkest hours as well.
Okay. So love more to me is that I think it comes from life experience. If your
Bye,
life is,
Sandra.
hey Sandra, thanks for being here. If your life has been endangered, or if you've dealt with, seeing the pearly gates, that kind of thing, it's not a light switch. It's just on all the time, right? You look at life a different way. And so therefore, and now a lot of people can get all up in arms about, like, I don't want to show who I truly am. Well, I think loving more is that whatever that is, and we're not talking intimate love, like we talked about in previous shows, compassion, support, care, knowledge, wisdom, whatever you would deem love. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And there's always an opportunity to do that.
Okay, Helen says love is a two-way street in life relationships, but relationships is actually loving the person regardless. You are not your actions. You're who you are. So it doesn't need to be a two-way street. You can love them. They may not love you back, but do your part.
I think too is this like let's just say, like, every day I post stuff on Facebook, right? Inspirational stuff. Does it mean that people have to give it to me back? No. Do I still love them? Sure. Because I want to see people in better spirits. If they're having a tough day, I want to help them, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay, next one is declare your possibilities, and I'll go first. So declaring your possibilities is where you make it known to other people. You're at the utmost vulnerability because you don't know how you're going to pull it off. But it takes a declaration that you say what you're going to do. It's specific. It's what you're taking a stand for, and you're going to follow through with it because now you have other people that are involved in that. Declare your possibilities. What do you got?
Declare your possibilities is realizing that no matter what excuse or what you feel your limiting beliefs are of the situation, don't allow that to not declare your possibilities. Push and reach the best way you can. There's many ways to get to a top of a hill. You might have to crawl, you might have to walk, you might have to run. It doesn't matter. But if you take the steps one by one, you'll get up there. I've heard people with canes, wheelchairs, whatever, get there. You just have to find a way that's going to allow you to get to those possibilities that you want. So to declare that one way or another, you're going to do your best to see and follow through the best you can.
Okay, very good. So the next one is think in a new way. Think in a new way, and we got like 5 or 6 left, so we got to keep moving.
Yeah, think in the new way is what I said earlier. The next time when you think of anything in the past that keeps being that old record player, think of it in a new way so that you can start having less triggers, less anxiety and anxious about the situation that continue. Even when I got to take some citric magnesium or something, I have this playing thing. I've got to start doing, taking 7-Up or something. It's funny because it tricked my mind. One time just recently, I didn't have to take the citric magnesium. My mind automatically did what I needed to do for my body. It was an amazing thing. But I was like, nope, this is going to help me. And the old way of thinking was, oh, I can't do this. It's going to make me sick. So I had to say, no, this is going to make me better. And sure enough, it is how you re-look at things.
So for me, thinking a new way is the lenses you're looking out at something in terms of how you perceive it. It's either a struggle, negativity, impossible, whatever shows up for you is either one of two camps. It's either I can't do that, I'm fearful, or it's an opportunity. There's something that drives you. And I think that it really starts there to think in a new way, how it shows up, right? Oh, I'll never be able to do that. Well, then that's how it's going to look, right? So you have to go back to how it looks, like your glasses, the glasses that you look out at whatever's going on. And obviously through, great sleep and fitness and all of that'll create the way. But I think that's the root of it, is like, okay, you make a choice and then that's how it looks.
You just made me think of, instead of thinking of never, I can't do that, I can't ever do that, think of, how can I do that? Ask yourself, how can I?
Or one thing my therapist said, because I have a tendency to start a lot of projects, right? Or which one should I do first? So it's like a hierarchy, right? All I'm doing is just wasting time, right? And then I'm not going to try any of them because I'm overwhelmed. And it's like, oh, I'll start that. I'm going to just get started with that.
And it's okay for that. Remember, we said that's okay to start, because look at where you starting and letting go of those projects. You got amazing things that are going to come out like that. So just start, at least start, and then know you still got that there. So there's nothing wrong with that.
No. Okay. So out of the box and in the box thinking. So I'll go with this one. Hey, Sandy. Out of the box thinking versus in the box thinking is that it's a choice. I think it's how you might be wired, but I think that they're two different camps. Is that don't alienate somebody that's in either of those camps, for how they think, because it's their DNA. But also, though, don't limit them in terms of the way that they do things. Like, that person's weird, they're different, right? It's like, if they want to think that way, let them think that way. But also, though, that it's not. It gets us out of ourselves that not everybody thinks like us, right? And sometimes that's hard, for me to look at. But also, though, they don't think like me, but it doesn't make them wrong. So I think that just the root of it is that they think different than me. That's it. How am I going to bridge that gap to relate to them? So go ahead.
Out of the box thinking, I love that, because I don't care for labels. And I think that we label things that what's inside the box and what's outside the box.
Correct.
So when you realize you're eliminating a box issue, and that all things are open-minded, and you're seeing things. That's why my kids loved going to New York in the summertime, because they, Montana to New York, the trends and the music were a little different. There's different cultures and things. But again, it gives you the spectrum of knowing, opening yourself up, that there's just not one way to get up to the mountain, like I said before, but there's many ways to get where you want to be. It's just thinking outside the box. I mean, some people may take 50 years to get up there, and some people may just go straight up. It doesn't matter. It's all action and motion, and everything is possible. And like they say, go out of the unbeaten path, or the path that's made, and make your own direction up there. There's no reason why you can't.
Excellent. So, okay. We're going to go a few minutes over, but we're going to get through these. We got 3 left. Okay. So let go of the stink for the fresh.
Yeah, let go of when you got all this yucky stuff in your brain and you keep filling it up with the same thing because it's playing over and over. It's just nasty. It's soggy. It's old. Even people around you could smell the stink. Even the people around you are just tired of the same record you're playing. If you just start changing it, the air be better, the freshness, the view, everything. Your health gets better. Just your perspective on life and the abilities and possibilities are always. So yeah, like Sandy said, stop thinking, and you'll be good. I'm done. Go ahead.
So this reminds me of, like, let's say somebody's ill. They have a cold and they're not feeling well, but they know that if they hop in the shower, they'll feel a lot better. The same thing about anything in your mind or anything you want to do, right? Is that, what are you going to do to disrupt it? Where if you take an hour away to go do something that you don't want to do because you need to keep working on this thing, but if you keep working on this thing, it's not going to give you anything different, right? So the best analogy I can give is stepping away from it, right? Is like, okay, just letting it go, like go on a trip, or like I mentioned yesterday, you either schedule your downtime or your body will schedule it for you, right?
Amen.
So stepping away. Okay, buffet of love. I'll go first. Buffet of love, and then we got one after this, and then we're done. So buffet of love is, it speaks to something that you just said, is that everybody witnesses love differently. If it's a friend, if it's a colleague at work, if it's an intimate partner, if it's parents, whatever. But it's like the buffet part is the word that sticks out to me most, because there's something for everybody, right? It's just a matter of finding out which resonates well with what group of people or person. I'm out. I'm done.
This is perfect. Buffet of love. Brian's in that little thing. His name is on that screen. Okay. And
Yeah.
this is Starbucks last night. Buffet of Love. There you go.
Look at that picture.
Yeah. So Buffet of Love is called just knowing that we're all different. We all come from different lives and walks of life and all that stuff. And I need chicken in mine. I love it. That's awesome. You're not a chicken, so you don't need chicken. You're both.
So Sandy, for Lynn's book signing tomorrow, you got to get the roasted barbecue chicken then, or something like that.
Yeah, I'll record that. I'll have a little segment of us getting there. But yeah, the Buffet of Love is basically realizing that, whatever you persist keeps, will be there and all this stuff. But when you just enjoy somebody for just being, it's amazing the love that can cover all the things that you may not like. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Our last one is simplicity in friendships and relationships. Simplicity in friendships and relationships.
Simplicity in friendships and relationships comes with the things you have in common, the things you mutually can agree upon, the laughter, the fun, the camaraderie, just getting to know each other, the bond you build there. And then, you have tough love and different conversations. But when you build the simplicity of knowing, well, you like to eat out restaurants or whatever you can find. And that's always can be a focus point. When all shit hits the fan, you can go back to the topics you're good at. You start molding that relationship, and you can make it as simple as whatever. Get back to the basis of the passion. Like if you guys are into a diet club, and you're doing all healthy stuff, and then all of a sudden one, loses the weight and the other one doesn't. I mean, it's just truly being one with the situation. That person's still going to love you, and vice versa of the reason why you got together, no matter where you grow apart.
So simplicity in friendships and relationships is that people trickle out. You through the course of time, you identify who you are. And the people that are not meant to be there end up, they unravel, right? They go elsewhere. And then slowly but surely, it's kind of like, when you start with a rock and then you hone it, you keep chopping at it, eventually you find diamonds. I think that that's the way that this works too, right? Is that there's no drama. You weed people out, right? And it doesn't mean you're going after anybody. It's just that there's no juice there. They can't manipulate people. They can't influence them because it doesn't work, right? And people don't respond to it. So the simplicity comes from finding your people little by little and making them a part of your world. And you can be your utmost self.
I love that, Brian. Tammy, would you like to chime in on the last one, simplicity of friendship?
I'm just going to say, Lynn is my world. She's so easy to love, and her energy is so awesome.
I love you. Stop.
Are you blushing yet?
Shut
up. So Tammy, you better get a signed copy of her book with no barbecue sauce on it.
I got it already.
I did.
Yeah. I was the first one to get one here in Kansas City area.
Yeah. I walked in the door doing it.
Yep.
So, yep. Brian.
Love is love is love is love. Love everybody. Stop hate.
That's right.
There's no room for it.
And no manipulate.
Yeah. No manipulate. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got in on the last of it. I was getting ready. I was taking a shower.
No wet wood. No wet wood.
No wet wood in this house.
Nope.
Not while you're here.
Oh, that's
yeah, exactly.
Anyways, I know that Brian and I totally wish everybody a happy weekend. Yep. Depending on how Sunday goes, Monday, I think we'll either show up or not. I'll let Brian know. Because I feel better that way instead of getting anxious that I promised something and it's just my integrity. I just don't need that emotional thing right now. But we might be here Monday, but Tuesday we will be, God willing. I'll be in Alpharetta, Georgia, and I'm excited. I'll be by the pool. It'll be awesome. I'm so excited. So, anyways, you guys.
How'd they go again?
I'm so excited.
I just liked it.
Okay. All right, you guys. I love you very much, Brian. You're awesome.
Yeah, everybody have a great weekend. We'll be back next week, whatever day it is. I mean, obviously the summer's a little bit different, but stay tuned to our pages. And as always, we value you being a part of our group and for sharing and all your input and just being along this journey with us. Without you guys, this show wouldn't exist. So thank you so much.
All right, you guys. Love you so much. Oh, Make it a great weekend. You
Absolutely,
too, Scott.
Scott.
Thank you so much for being here. We love you. Bye, everybody.